everything else feels pretty at home. As again, Caboose has certainly played his fair share of Raze, and again, he is certainly, been leaning into that duelist role again. So there's not a whole lot of curveballs when it comes to the Envy side of things for composition.
Right here.
And I'm trying to remember,
Revealing area.
on ICEBOX, was it Envy that just went A X amount of times? I think that was like the first time
You just
Envy
described North American Valorant.
Okay,
So
true. That is very true. But it does seem like it's evolved quite a bit for Envy since then. This time, though, starting off on the defense, it's 5 members all stacked up here right inside the smoke, but a nice Sage wall to keep them safe even in these close quarters. It'll allow the plant, but on the flank, here comes Envy. Moved from the back, is able to find 2. Mummy grabs another, and it's all down to the last here. Sick has been so good in the past, but it's hard to do with only 13 rounds in the mag. And Caboose with a bit of friendly fire to close it out, but either way, Envy grabbed the pistol.
I mean, they could afford it in that situation. They were up 4-1. So, I mean, if you're going to give a love tap to a teammate to catch their attention, I guess that was the moment to do so. Great retake there from Envy. But yeah, I feel like ICEBOX is still very much like a set piece simulator. Like, it's very much about like picking a site and just executing it. Just because of the construction. We have seen a couple of teams experiment more with like mid control and threatening tube. I think Gen G is probably the one that really comes to mind that was kind of showing me during the open qualifier that there were some tricks still that attacking teams could be trying to explore on this map in the North American region. But more often than not, people are just hammering away at sites. And this round, not going to be much different, is it?
Enemy tag.
Seems to be the same here again. Sentinels 5 stacked up. They do have one hanging out on the flank this time. It looks like Sick gonna make sure Food doesn't have the same round that he had previously, and it is gonna be Stingers against Stingers across the board.
Lord.
So the Stinger
Sick
showdown.
spotted them all.
Yeah, peeks out to 3 and just needs to get out of dodge. Now Crashies up top has the high ground, is able to back away and get a bit of information, but nobody pushed onto the site just yet. They actually might take the fight right to the flankers, and they're going to do just that. But Finesse with the turret in tow, able to grab that kill onto Dapper. Try to stop the rotations, but here we go. Sentinels, they're trying to creep on over to B, and now it's a 2v2, but both teams beating feet towards that site.
Yeah, that was an interesting process because Envy's flank got spotted and so many members were committed to it. To get it found out that early, it made them kind of reconsider. Sentinels were trying to battle them, and we saw a lot of exchanges kind of take place in that middle area, leaving us into this 2-on-2 where the Spike is indeed trying to transition over towards the B side, but Envy, they're challenging right away. It's getting dodgy here, but Mummy wins a big fight against Zoms, and Sick is so low on health now that he's in a lot of trouble. Too many angles to cover at once, and Envy will collect the benefit. They will now be up 2-0. They are getting real good control here. Not a lot of credits to spin for Sentinels. So likely a 3rd round in a row here coming from the Envy side. And they're already a map to the good as well. And again, just to add a little bit of context to this, Envy have never beaten Sentinels in a best of 3 or best of 5. They have only taken maybe 2 or 3 maps off of Sentinels out of the 17 or 18 that they played against each other. The head-to-head could not be more in favor of Sentinels when it comes to statistics. But if Envy were able to pull it off here and now with so much at stake, what a story that would be. And at least they're taking those first steps in that direction.
And I think it would kind of piggyback off of all of the action we've seen thus far in the Valorant scene in North America, that the gap is closing between all of these teams and adjustments are being made. My first initial thoughts when I saw this matchup is Sentinels win 8 out of their last 10, and their 2 losses, they righted those wrongs in beating LGs and Immortals to eventually win Challengers 1. Envy on a 6-game winning streak. They haven't been playing the most top-tier teams. They did just beat XSET, and they were upset by XSET, so you can see that the cogs are turning and they're making changes. But I think the gap is really starting to close here as there's no longer a gap towards B. It's everybody headed over towards A, so Sentinel's playing the mind games.
Yeah, just to tag on to that, like with XSET and Luminosity kind of busting through, the parity era has begun in North America. Until things start to settle back down, we have so many teams that seem to be very competitive at this point in time. But maybe with some patches and some other adjustments, we'll see things change. But the wall gets put down as Sentinels are just trying to force a plant onto the site, which they will succeed at doing. So they'll get that economy in play. But now here comes the superior firepower of Envy on the retake.
The run it back going to be used as well, so Envy not looking to give up anything here in this one, as Caboose is first to find Kill on the site. Zom's gonna trade one back, so trying to hurt the economy the best they can. Dapper on the board as well, and once more we're in a 2v2 Sentinels against all odds, trying to get it done. And with those kills, Sick has the Hunter's Fury. A nice flash out. Dapper gonna be playing close quarters. There's the Hunter's Fury. The first shot gonna go on through. Not gonna find too much there, and I believe it should just be the stick. No, actually gonna die, and they're so far away. I don't know if Finesse has the time.
No, he doesn't.
He
was trying to come in and catch Sick while he was still popping the Hunter's Fury shot so he could get the kill and backtrack. But he was able to get the kill before Finesse could complete the distance closing. And so Sentinels sneak one by with very little behind it. That is a surprising victory. I thought, yeah, sure, Sentinels, they use the wall, they get the spike plant, fine. But Envy already had a pretty quick pick through screens. They were up 5-4. They had the superior weaponry, and I thought, okay, this should be all she wrote. But Sentinels somehow, off the back of that ult there from Sick, get that victory, and they get one way earlier than Envy were probably expecting.
And that damages this Envy economy. You saw, I think, one rifle, the rest stingers here. Nice pickup in that. Caboose gonna swing on out. That's the rifle. Down on the rifles for Sentinel, starting to come out on top. They want to tie things up here on this attacking side. Food will get corralled back towards this yellow box. Tosses out a flash. Is going to get the blind, but now maybe needs to try and get himself to safety. It looks like he just wants to take the fight right to him. If he's going to go out, it's on the sword, on his shield. Crash is able to get one back, but Sentinels just so oppressive there up towards B-Long.
Yeah, that's the great thing about adding Sage to their composition on this map. Is not only do you get the smokes of Omen to block angles, but then you also get Sage's wall to lock down zones as well, and it makes it a lot harder for defenders to retake. You're having to break that, you know, it's just kind of creating new routes. Kind of similar to what you'll see a Sage do on Split when she puts that wall down on the B side. You can do very similar things here to ICEBOX, because they have similar things when it comes to like construction, with just like so many structures and tight angles. Like you can really use those abilities to your benefit to do some great things. And now we are going to see once again Sentinels looking to attack into Long B, and Finesse is in for some trouble, and he doesn't even get away.
Doesn't get away. Sinatra just running and gunning, takes him down over towards the B side, and that opens things up once more. So this quicker play style out towards B starting to pay off in favor of Sentinels, as once more that Sage Wall going to be used. Caboose able to find a kill this time, not on a teammate with the paint shells. It is going to be Sick to fall, and crashes on the flank, but it's been sniffed out. Zoms able to trade that kill right back, and it is an eco buy, but we've seen how the ecos sometimes go in this series. Caboose jumps on through. Nice paranoia, able to net one kill, and Mummy just trying to stick to defuse, but it's the firing squad to shut him down. Sentinels now grab themselves a lead, and just every ultimate available.
Yeah, I mean, again, neither of these teams are going to waste too much time instilling their will on each other. Again, we've talked about this already, how aggressive these two teams can be, how scrappy they can be. And so when Sentinels get that opening pick, there was never a question about what the next step on the checklist was. It was time to pounce. And Shazam's been very public about this because, you know, Reyna has just been wreaking havoc. They were like, all right, we're going to start doing that too. We got some pretty skilled players that can make things happen. And they want to just build off that pace that you know, that Reyna can create. You know, she's not always getting kills, definitely can still create so much space, and now they're going to be pivoting their focus the other side.
And we could very well see a back and forth. Unfortunately for Envy, Sight might just be taking a nice kill early. That's the Reyna finding kills, and I mean, it doesn't get any more unfortunate than that, as the showstopper goes completely useless. Not going to find too much. It's the ult over towards B, and just like I pointed out, we might see that
big miss.
Totter back and forth, but Mummy puts himself in a bad spot. The operator in hand, and he just has not been finding the shots, but a nice Sage Wall towards mid. It doesn't offer a whole lot, in Sentinels, again, trying to take B.
Oh, this is interesting. Envy are thinking that maybe Sentinels have actually backed off because they haven't been feeling any pressure lately over on this B side. So they're actually putting recon inside A site and even pivoting back through defending side. And this is where Sentinels decide to go ahead and gather up and restrike onto B site. Hunter's Fury getting popped by Crashies to try to deny some access here and slow them down a bit so they can get their players back in position, which they have done. The defense is back in place, but they still are a man behind. But that shot has equalized things, and time is getting low, and Envy are pushing in as Sentinels are forced to put the spike down, and they've all been caught out. It's only Sick now left. and now he will join his teammates in the grave. What a weird round, Tanner. I mean, it seemed like Sentinels were on the right track when they were making Envy kind of scramble and respect that maybe they had pivoted back to A side, but Envy were quickly able to shift back, and then they just all popped off at once. That was such a quick exchange.
Yeah, and a really tough one because, again, I think we've probably said it on the desk together a handful of times where Valorant is that game. You get a pick here, you go over there. You get a pick there, you go back over here. And you kind of play that back and forth teeter-totter, and that's what we saw. We saw a kill over towards A, and instead of storming it, they tried to rotate. And not having the conventional Sentinel, only having that Sage, there wasn't a whole lot of information to be found. You know, there's no neural theft from Dapper this time to spot out those defenders, so it didn't leave a whole lot answered there for Sentinels, and end up getting running down, playing too slow. Shazam playing a bit quicker in this one. Finds that first op shot. Sinatra gonna go up top, but he's jumping, can't find his footing, but the res comes through, so they stay alive for a bit longer. Now a 5v3. The ultimates not necessarily being traded out. That lockdown does come through and should be able to push him off. Ness picks up a kill. Boost able to even the odds, and what once was a 6-man roster here in this round, now down to the last 3. They're playing off the site. Shazam has the blades available, and
look at this.
Oh, look at that angle.
Oh my goodness, they're gonna meet each other here very soon though, and Sentinels will be the one taking the victories, and that is broken the round back open for the team. It looked like Envy were actually shutting down this attack, but then again they thought maybe Sentinels were backing off. Then Dapper strikes, and that is the X factor of the round. Dapper has absolutely saved the day for Sentinels here. What a great round. He might even be the one to put the finishing touches. No, never mind. Finesse gets himself into a 1v2. And, well, that was a short-lived clutch situation, wasn't it? It's just Ham sent them out right away to take the lead back for Sentinels. And, man, like, honestly, the way that was playing out at first, I was actually pretty happy with how Envy were playing. They essentially were able to put the lockdown, despite the fact that they were behind in the man count. And that really forced the Hunters here to be popped to shut down the lockdown. But that timing window is what Envy could use to start slipping back into the site as the Hunters here was being burned, so they could actually get some kills and start prying the site back open. But then Dapper goes unchecked in the corner, finds a great timing, busts the site open with 2 big entries, and that is what allows Sentinels to pave the way forward. They've actually won 4 of the last 5, so they're starting to get some momentum going.
The momentum is exactly what they need to, especially for a team like this. And Sinatra, that swarm grenade that was just tossed out. A couple rounds ago, we saw Finesse bounce it off the barrier, and I mean, it yields the same result. This time it wasn't off the barrier, but Sinatra still finding that kill onto the Killjoy. Renders all of that utility now useless, but a kill traded back. No res available this time around. And Caboose finds another paint shell kill. They just keep planting in the same spot, and they get punished for it. Unfortunately, for food, the stinger for Zom's gonna come out on top, but Crashies is another man on the flank. He's got the discipline for one, not gonna find the second. It's back and forth once more, but so much damage traded onto Dapper. He finally gets sat down. Now Zoms has to come up clutch. He finds the first inside the smoke. It's Omen v Omen. Zoms trying to keep the momentum going forward, and Zoms Nation, 3 kills for the Omen.
Yeah, it seems like Envy have a couple of tricks up their sleeve on trying to shut down how Sentinels are doing this ice wall attack on B by banking Caboose's grenade and always doing significant damage to the planner, even finding the kill and kind of prompting Envy to, you know, have a foothold to launch a retake. But we're seeing individual plays shining through from Sentinels. It was Dapper last round with the big play to reel it back in. This round it's Zoms clutching. And the question you have to start asking yourself is, can these heroics continue for Sentinels? Or is eventually Envy's game plan going to pan out and get them some victories to keep themselves close to Sentinels and perhaps even still win the half when it's all said and done? The thing is, with Sentinels, they have so many hot players that heroics are certainly always possible, but that's a great opening pick for Mummy.
You don't hate to see that as an NB fan, taking down the operator for Sentinels. Shazam now off the board. One less thing to worry about. And a very deep run it back. We'll see what Food can get done. If anything, he jumps up and he finds and pops the Grape of Zom. So no clutch potential this time.
That is so unreal. It was about to fizzle out, too, where he would get no value from it. But then right at the end, he actually does catch a player. And that is so insane. Now Envy have a big 5-on-3 ahead of them to start closing the gap on the scoreboard and maybe start putting Sentinels to a little bit of a halt. Sentinels, though, still trying to strike onto A. Recon goes down, trying to clear out some angles. They're going to try to wall off here and get the spike into position. There's a little bit of a corner that they can plant in right there, where the wall blocks things off, but even with the plant, he's caught right away, but at least they get that economy out of it. Around, different story.
Yeah, the round, definitely a different story. No Hunter Shuri this time. As Envy, it looked like they had it in the last. They finally string some together, and they get back now win column. It's a flawless one at that. So in a game where this economy matters so much, that's the best way to win a round.
Yeah, again, I've seen some good ideas out of Envy throughout all these rounds that they've been losing. It's just Sentinels have been able to pop off a bit better in some exchanges that were really key. This round, Envy were able to stay ahead the entire way through. Mummy gets to pick food with the run it back, able to get some value. And then at that point, I mean, we kind of knew where the round was headed. Sentinels just trying to, you know, get something out of it by getting that spike plant. They will still get a good buy here, though. A couple players will be on stingers, but they do have the res. They do have Shazam, who can pack a bit more of a punch with the daggers as well alongside that stinger. So they still have pretty close to full firepower.
A lot going for him, and it looks like a creep up towards mid. Last time we saw this, it was the Sage wall going out. Ooh, Caboose gonna stop it this time. The play under two not going to work. The res comes through. We've seen how this one ends. That 6-man roster somehow, some way. Usually able to find a round win, but it's back and forth we go once more. Now in a 4v4, although the res used, the blades now gonna be popped here by Shazam as that spike tries to creep onto the side. A nice left click is going to find the grape up. Caboose, he's going to go up top for a couple more, but runs into two. Now we find ourselves in a 3v3. Another member here cut down in Sentinels. They just find a way, but look at the spike dust.
Oh, but look at this. Oh, he gets caught. No way. I thought he was going to be the spoiler and all that, but no, Envy do collect him, and that leaves Sick all by his lonesome. He does have the spike. He's got a little bit of time to play around with, but they hear them hopping around, and he's going to try to come in here and see what he can do, but he has to face both players at once. There was never a chance really given to him there. Envy are doing some great things. They contest that so well. Give credit to Caboose there under two. Forces the res out of Sentinels and doesn't even let them benefit from it, as he was able to lay down the paint shelves right there for the follow-up. And then, yeah, catching Sinatra in the back lines was so huge. And I'm going to be real with you. It does feel like Sinatra hasn't really gotten a whole hell of a lot out of this Reyna. He is 3-12 right now. And you have to wonder if a bit of that is because he doesn't really play Reyna in officials. I mean, he's really only been playing it a bit on ICEBOX. And you wonder if that lack of familiarity is kind of coming back to haunt him just a little bit. I know it helped them out when they won their last 2 games on ICEBOX with him on the Reyna, but he's having a tough time today, and you need to thrive with kills to be successful, and it's not going to happen this round either, as Food is relentless on this A-side aggression.
Now, I will say, he was rezzed twice and then died twice, so some rounds he had 2 deaths. But yeah, your point stands where Sinatra just hasn't really gotten going, and maybe Sinatra on Reyna works against LG, and maybe it works against IMT, but we're seeing it, the change in pace, momentum, structure for each team. Not everything is going to work every single time. You can't just keep, running at them and expecting the same result. That's exactly what's happening here. And Sentinels, no res available this time around, cut down their last 2. One postured up inside a nest, though. Shazam already made his way up top, but Caboose cuts him down. Make it 2, as it's all up to Zoms. And this is a tough one to get done. A stinger in hand, and he might just walk away from it.
Yeah, it's definitely a good point to raise here, as the site is well and truly locked down. Spike is well out of reach on top of that. Zoms trying to angle around the best he can in this opening of the wall. He does indeed find Mummy, but that is all he will find except for a tombstone, as Finesse will put it between the eyes and put Envy back in the lead. They have been on a bit of a streak here. They've won 4 of the last 6, including the last 3 in a row. As we go into the final round of the half, it seems like they're really starting to get the wind in their sails. And again, they already have a map to the good, so they are starting to keep that 2-0 dream a real possibility and get their first ever series victory over Sentinels and get themselves the first master spot available here in the NA region. And what a story it would be, as they have been really just steamrolling through their most recent games. So they're really on a good form streak right now. Will it keep up, or can Sentinels put a halt to it?
And Hunter Shuri actually gonna silence Sinatra once more. Sick also gonna get tagged up. trading out the Hunter's Fury of his own. So an awkward spot to be in. Again, no res available, and I'm not too sure how close Dapper is to that one. He picks up an orb. Now needs to find not only an orb over towards A, but a kill on top of it also. 2 kills here. There are 2 members, but a very tall order. Envy kind of seem to have the recipe now to be closing out a 7-5 half.
Indeed, they do, and they still have the paint shells available on Caboose, so if that wall goes down yet again for that plant over on B side, he again has the lineup to really make them pay for trying to go for that particular plant. It's all about whether or not he can get it off, and well, Shazam finding that pick, that's going to really take that tool off the table. But Crashies and company swinging back in. Huge play from Crashies with the hat trick before Zoms finally silences him. But Mummy catches Zoms' rotation, and now it's all on Sick. And he is not long for this world. It is going to be Envy taking the lead 7-5 and inching closer and closer to that finish line, Tanner. But we are going to take a quick break before we bring you that conclusion. Stay tuned, folks.
We are jumping right back into things. 7-5, the half in favor of Envy. And it started to look a little bit like the Sentinel show there, Dust, for those 3 rounds that they strung together.
Take flight.
It was for a bit, but Envy came right on back, didn't they? And now we're on to their attacking side, and they have been very successful on the attacking side. They're at 71% win rate on attack on ICEBOX. Now, granted, some of those games were against weaker opposition like Space Station and Beast Coast, but it's also come against teams like Ambox and Immortals. So, I mean, they are definitely a dangerous team here at Sentinels. They need to be a bit fearful of.
As that classic proves to be a dangerous weapon, taking down the Frenzy of One. FNS finds the first kill. But Sentinels strike back, pick up one, make it another as food will fall. But the spike has been planted. Now everybody looking to get cut down. Now Crashies with a beautiful shock dart. Gonna make sure that Paranoia gets 0 value. And Sinatra, this is the man of the hour. The man of the half needs to have himself a handful of kills here in this one to work his way on up. 2 kills is exactly what he needs to find. One playing out towards yellow, one playing out towards mid. Dapper gonna get cut down by Crashies, and Sinatra finds himself in a 1v2. It's the classic of FNS on site. Sinatra trying to run Crashies down, but the ring around the rosy. This is how you have to play it. He's running out of time. He finds the kill, but what does it mean? It means a whole lot of nothing. It means another pistol to Envy, Dust.
Indeed, it does. They will jump up further on the scoreboard. And they are all firing, man. I have to say that as well. I guess Food's a little bit behind the pack, but not by much, and everyone else is just popping when they need to. Granted, Sentinels, they've had a couple players also shine, but again, when you're Sinatra and you're playing an agent like Reyna that is reliant upon snowballing, she needs those frags to collect orbs to dismiss and be a nuisance, to heal herself, to sustain, and he's not getting a lot of those right now. And while, yeah, sure, his Leers can, you know, create some distance, and just having Arena out there can instill some fear. I mean, you're not really fearing him too much. Like, you've kind of sniffed out the bark at this point, and it's not a pit bull. It's a bit more of a chihuahua right now. But we'll see. There's still time for him. We know how good of a player he can be, but it's got to come soon, because Envy are inching closer and closer to that finishing tape. And they're about to break through and reach the Masters podium, but we'll have to see, as this round's going to be a bit tougher on Sentinels. They are already a couple players down, and obviously firepower is a bit of a mixed bag.
And the Stingers, as strong as they are, it looks like they're only going to offer so much. Shazam trying to close the distance, able to find the dink onto Crashies, but not able to secure the kill. At the very least, the spike hasn't been planted. Sentinels have that going for them. And Sinatra gets tagged up by the shock dart. There's a couple of low HP members, so this could be where we see the dismissed. We could see the heal. Unfortunately, Sinatra going to fall. Zom's going to follow suit. And not even needing the spike plant there as Envy grabbed that second round.
There just seems to be kind of a mood across this game right now where it seems like Envy just can't miss. They just seem to be so on point, and it's been building up for quite some time. They have just been dominating their last few matches, even rarely allowing their teams to get double digits on any of the maps that they've played. They have been absolutely smashing people. We've seen Food and Caboose and just really keep that individual form climbing. Mummy and Crash, have always been super consistent. They're continuing to shine, and they are just looking so dangerous right now. And Sentinels, they're running out of room to figure things out here. They're getting pushed off this B defense. Food is going to keep pushing forward.
And very, very healthy again. So the Stinger, when you're closing these angles and you're running and gunning, it feels a whole lot better than when you're trying to hold one of those deep angles, as we saw Shazam trying to do earlier in that last round. Now it's a full stack up towards B. You still have one hanging out towards mid. And I'm surprised that we're not seeing a bit more mid presence from this Envy squad. I thought we might see it early as that turret spots out Dapper. I'm not too sure if that wall is still available. This round is an uphill battle. Hunter Shuri available. You've got, again, Caboose, who has been so money with those paint shells. Still has those available. It does sound like they are going to go out, find the damage onto Sinatra, who's forced to back away. That drone going to get some info, and a recon bolt right behind it. Going to spot the push onto this B side, for the sprays come down. Zom's the first to find the kill, but Caboose will finish that one off. Sinatra, although on low HP, is able to battle back
30 seconds left
and find the kill onto Caboose, the member who once did damage to him with those paint shells. The spike actually going to get stopped, but Food still picks up the kill. Sentinels are delaying as long as they can. The HP bars are low on the two remaining. The wall is up. The shorty up top from Shazam, not going to find too much just yet, and there's just no way out. That's the spike now down on the ground. And FNS running out of time, has to find everything here. No time to plant, only time to frag out, and he's not able to do it. Sentinels against all odds grab a round.
That was a nail biter. Like you said, the clock was down to the wires, down to 1v1. He has to get the kill. He was picking the right direction to swing on, but was not able to collect, and so Sentinels do just hang on. Sinatra that round was able to be pretty effective. Not only did he get his kill, but he stalled them out for so long. He was always, you know, being a factor. And that's what I'm trying to get at here. I think people are thinking I'm dogging Sinatra out because he's having a bad game. No, you just have to understand how pivotal this map is worth and understand Sinatra is typically super good. And so it's actually kind of shocking to see him struggle. And that's a real factor in how this map is playing out. And so it has to be pointed out, I feel like. I would be doing a disservice if I didn't. But that was a nice little recovery round for Sentinels. It's going to be about whether or not they can build off of it now. Oh my. Okay, Caboose.
The fadeaway on the operator there. Shazam will fall, and this is the mid play that I was expecting to see. Envy. Ooh, no, Sinatra trades it back, dismisses away here, and I think that's going to deter you from wanting to push mid any further as Zombs finds a kill on his counterpart. And Sentinels are starting to battle back. We're getting the inverse, Dust. It looked like the Sentinels show. Envy reel it back in. It looked like the Envy show. And now Sentinels are starting to reel it back in.
Yeah, good job there from Zombs and Sinatra in tandem to play off each other. Food trying to run it back here to push off the retake a bit, as it is a man advantage for Sentinels on this sweep back through a site, but Finesse connects the dots. Now it's back equal. Crash, he's catching this flank here, catching 6, swapping around, and not ready. And now Envy are up.
Hunter Shuri not going to find the tag onto Sinatra here, as he does find a kill. Food able to finish what he started. Dapper trying to do everything he can. He's only got 4 HP, and it's a shock dart from downtown that put Envy back to their winning ways. But these rounds, Dust, are back and forth.
Indeed, they very much are, but that's favoring Envy. They're already out in front. They're fine going tit for tat at this point. It's Sentinels that have the pressure on. They're the ones up against the ropes. And don't get me wrong, there is still a lower bracket to be played. There is still, you know, a lifeline, I guess you can say, to Masters, even with the loss here. But the person waiting for you is 100 Thieves, and that's no guaranteed match either if you're Sentinels. Now, granted, all these teams are still guaranteed at the very minimum Challengers 3 spots, so that's good. Like, there's still ways back in, don't get me wrong. But, again, you beat Envy every time. This was the way for you to get to Masters, right? It was lined up for you. You're loving this head-to-head historically. But Envy are shining through, man, and it's nice to see, because I know that they always have felt in the past that Sentinels had their number despite how well that they've been able to place and, you know, where they were typically at on the rankings, and now they're starting to deliver in this matchup too.
No Stopper looking to get aggressive as Food finds the first kill. Boombot right behind, using that like Yowl drone, trying to play right behind it to see if it got any info. Unfortunately, not a whole lot, but acting as that baby lockdown. And here comes the mama bear lockdown, but Shazam says, I don't think so. Finds that first kill and looks to continue pushing forward to stay aggressive. Tries to take the lockdown for his team, but one player to be detained on this site. Dapper, Sinatra still hanging out nice and pretty, not going to be detained. They're pushing up nice and close. They're taking the fight right to him. And it's Crashies again with the shock darts going just a bit too far. Doesn't have the angle. Finds 2 kills on the way out, but Sentinels pick up another.
Yeah, really well done. Sentinels are striking back here. They are keeping themselves very much in this race. They have not fallen off just yet. But again, at these rounds, keep going back and forth like this, Envy will eventually taste victory. And these economies are just so fragile for both these teams, and no one's really building up much of a loss bonus. And it's like, who's it going to catch up to first? And it feels like it's going to be Envy on the losing end of that deal. They have to come into this round with a couple of Sheros, the Stinger, a Frenzy. It's looking a little bit grim. This is Sentinel's chance to strike back here, Tanner. This is their chance to close that gap on the scoreboard and remain very relevant here on this map of ICEBOX, because that drone doesn't really spot out anything. They get no intel, and in fact, Sonata's able to keep up this close position on yellow.
And it's a nice angle, an especially nice angle to play with that Lear. We saw that queued up just a moment ago, so he's waiting to hear anything and then look to swing on out, and he might be good for 3. As here it is, queued on up. Smokes are going to go out. Going to smoke off Snowman to try and stop that deep push. Lear goes through, it's taken down almost immediately. Sinatra's able to find one, looking for the second, but he's traded back. It's an eco round again for Envy, and they're finding the kills. Dapper from downtown will come out on that trade, but Sentinels down to the last 2 should... Dapper's got the res, actually, so it could be a 3v3 at the very least. No, the res is now taken off the board.
Oh, my goodness. They needed Sinatra to collect that orb and get out of there, but he just got overwhelmed by numbers. Envy just pop off 3 kills in the blink of an eye, even with just mostly pistols, and now they all of a sudden have a 3-on-1. It's all on Shazam inside the container waiting.
Very scary spot to be, but he's able to down 1, takes the spike down. Now running out of time is Envy once more. They find themselves in an awkward spot, and Shazam is looking to clutch up. He's able to create some distance, and Food just has to try and run him down. The hot hands go through, and that's going to be it. Shazam goes clutch in a 1v3.
What a big play from Shazam. It was looking like it was going to go Envy's way. They had done so well to overwhelm that B site, stamp Sinatra out, and start laying claim to that territory. But Shazam, ever crafty, finding his battles and choosing them wisely, and then in the end just stands his ground and brute forces food into oblivion. And now an 8th round rings out from Sentinels, and all of a sudden Envy's lead is withering away, but they are back onto a full buy this round, including an operator in their possession. So there's still a chance for them to, you know, keep this one going.
Yeah, and notably, like you said, back to a full buy. Last one, it was that eco, but they all had the upgraded rifles. I think maybe Food was out of ammo, swap into the secondary there, but they found kills, they found rifles, and it was definitely a round that Envy should have been able to pick up. But Shazam going back to the Sentinels' way, doing what they do best, the heroics coming on through. Now Food trying to right his wrongs from the last. He's gonna go wide on the shots on Sinatra, who will be able to top himself off, send that Phoenix right back, and now the play towards B once more. This has not been the best spot for him, as Sick gonna use that Hunter's Fury. Not able to find a tag just yet. The kill's gonna be traded back and forth on this B site. But we have to pay attention to the clock, Dust. There's a whole lot of time, but that has been what is killing Envy here as Finesse finds another kill.
Ooh, finally, though, they got Shazam off the board, a key piece off the squares that has been in this game of chess for Sentinels time and time again. But Sick, he's still standing, and we know how consistent this guy can be. He's come in, he's found one, he's evened it back up to a 2-on-2. The spike is ticking, and Sick is going to fade it all up to Zombs. Now he lines them both up, though, anyway, with the Stinger. 4 HP to spare, but it's all that matters is the result, not how you get there. And that's going to be a knife from Sentinels, and oh my goodness, Tanner, the pendulum does seem to swing, and it's fading right back into the Sentinels camp. They have won 4 of the last 5. They're 1 away from tying it up, and they're keeping that 3rd map very much on the table all of a sudden.
And it feels so bad because Envy put themselves in winning situations, but then you line up perfectly like that. If you split yellow box, things go differently, but they don't.
Yes.
And again, it's the heroics for Sentinels. And this time, it's very close. They're about to find themselves a lead, and all of the momentum is in their favor. And it's quite possibly another eco buy here from Envy.
Yeah, it's just like those little, it's like those little finer details that are all of a sudden getting overlooked. Like you said, you could either split the yellow boxes, or you could just make sure that you're swinging a little bit on a different timing to where you're not an easy lineup. And then Zombs all of a sudden has to kind of flick back and forth, and it's very likely he only gets one of you, and then you win the round. All of a sudden you're at 11, Sentinels are still at 8, you're near map and series point. But woulda, coulda, shouldas, you know, don't amount to really much but speculation. You know, the reality is now they're sitting on Stingers, as you said, their economy very much in tatters. And, you know, Sentinels all of a sudden are sitting in the driver's seat of this map, and they are very close to, you know, parking this baby in a brand new garage, which could be that 3rd map.
Looking like it is. We do have that tactical pause up here. Envy just trying to slow the momentum a little bit, ice the kicker a bit for this Sentinels squad, just to really take a deep breath, because once the rounds are kicking off, it is just go, go, go. The kills are coming back and forth, and for the last couple, it's been, like we said, the heroics for Sentinels. Zombs, Shazam picking up those kills. Sinatra, again, a little bit lower, but the impact frag that he's had when he took so much damage from Caboose off the paint shells, later comes back in that round to kill Caboose and take the Raze out of the equation. So just a whole lot going on here.
It seems like the key piece has been Shazam in all of this. Like, he has been getting so many opening picks with this operator, and well, speak of the devil, he's found yet another. And Envy were already behind in this round when it came to firepower. Now you add the man count deficit to that, and it's just really looking a bit grim from them stopping Sentinels on tying this thing up. It's going to take something crazy for them to strike back now, it seems.
Shazam went for the quick scope there, able to get out, dash to safety without taking too much damage. A nice recon bolt from Sick, is able to net a kill, and he's able to find another as he pushes up aggressively. Again, it was that thrifty eco buy. Now an upgrade for Crash. He's full HPs. He tries to trade the kill back, and maybe his mouse died there because his crosshair was not moving. But either way, Sentinels, not only do they tie that up, but they hang on to every single ultimate.
Yeah, that is pretty huge. As you said, not having to expend a whole lot. Again, it's just Shazam with this op, man. He's just always out there. I feel like his name often doesn't get rewarded enough because you got people out there like Wardell and some other, you know, very strong Jet players in our region. But Shazam is right up there in that mix, man. He is really solid, and he has been having a hell of a defensive half here to keep Sentinels, you know, in contention on ICEBOX. It looked like Envy were starting to break away. I feel like he's been such a factor in reeling it back in. But now we're back onto the full buy for Envy. Shazam chooses a little bit of a new starting location here, but still towards that A side. And that is certainly the spot that Envy seemed to want to pry open. Drone coming up through middle from Sentinels to get a little bit of that intel on what they're up against. Here comes the lockdown.
And we saw Shazam last time with the heroics. No, Caboose not even looking. Waiting for somebody to push that lockdown. Instead, Shazam finds that kill. This time around, nobody detained, and the spike yet to be planted. The turret goes down, but what can Shazam do about it? He can make sure it doesn't get too much. The spike now on the floor. The rest comes through onto Sinatra once more, but Mummy is trying to take this round into his own hands. 3 kills for the Omen. Food, unfortunately, not going to find too much. He tries to ult away, but Shazam again will stunt the play. Crashes the top frag here in a 1v3. The knives are available. The recon bolt's gonna try and spot him out, but Zombs will take him down, and Sentinels find themselves in the lead.
Oh my goodness, again, it's Shazam kind of the starting point of the round, and he also comes in clutch a little bit later as well. He finds just a sitting duck there in Caboose, and then it comes with the daggers on Mummy trying to ult the way. He wasn't alone in his efforts, however. It must be said that his teammates really came in and helped him out. Mummy certainly put a good foot forward on that round as well. He had a really big moment there after having a bit of a quiet patch, but it just wasn't enough. And now Sentinels do have the lead. It's been quite some time since they've been the one in the advantage. And so this is starting to get down to the wire.
And notably, at the half, you had noted everybody firing on all cylinders here just about for this NB squad. Everybody working together. Unfortunately, Caboose, again, taken off the board early. The mid play not going to work out this time around, but the spike over towards B, now it's going to be planted. We finally get to see one of these post plants. Is this one going to work out? Through the smoke, Food's going to find a kill. No res available, and the only ult available here for Sentinels is that from the shadows. Not going to be a whole lot to get done with that one. FNS on the flank, but he's going to get sat down. 1 for 1, they will go. It's a 3v3. Sinatra continues to push forward. He will dismiss away, and Shazam is there to back him up. The Lear goes through. It's a 3K for the Jet, and Sentinels, it was swift, and now they're on match point.
Yeah, that round was looking really close, but then Sinatra able to get a big frag, dismiss, be that annoying Reyna finally, be that nuisance, and, you know, be that thorn in Envy's side, and it unlocked Shazam to be able to press forward, and he just continues to instill his will on this game. He is having a ludicrous defensive half. He has been absolutely all over the place with that operator, whether it's getting opening picks, whether it's pushing in people's faces and closing down rounds. He has just been so money, dude. I mean, Shazam, tip your hat to that guy. He is basically driving Sentinels back forward. He's you know, correcting the ship, and now it's very much looking to port on a third map.
13-10 in map number 1. Envy's grabbed themselves a lead, looking to be 13-10 here for Sentinels. Pretty hindered by. Coming on through his Food, gonna get tagged out, shot through the wall. A huge heads-up spray from Sinatra, and also finding the kill onto Mummy, who is swinging outside of yellow. Now Sinatra starting to feel himself, and across the map, Sick will find one with the Hunter Shuri. Make it another, as Dapper was there just to try and help out. Sentinels looking to close it out, and it's all up to Caboose, who has floundered a bit in this second half. Blast pack goes through, not able to dodge out on the shots, and Sentinels will bring us to map 3.
Oh my goodness, what a run from Sentinels towards the end of that second half. Envy were threatening a 2-0 on the series, and it looked like